Dayton Peace Agreement was signed 20 years ago, in Dayton on November the 21st, 1995, and in Paris on December the 14th, 1995. We must never forget that it brought peace to Bosnia-Herzegovina, ending a war in which thousands of innocent men, women and children lost their lives, and hundreds of thousands were displaced from their homes.
Let me say something that most Bosnians won't agree with. I think Dayton was a great international agreement. What Dayton did brilliantly was reach some very untidy compromises in order to stop a war. And although those compromises now look difficult and sometimes wrong, I don't think there's anybody in Bosnia or anybody in the international community at that time who would not have accepted that untidiness in order to end a terrible war. Dayton was not a basis to build a state. It was a treaty to end a war. What we made of Dayton was the key thing. When I came here in my mandate, I said I thought Dayton was the floor, but it couldn't be the ceiling. It's what we built on Dayton that matters. We had to move beyond Dayton, and we did.
Over the past 20 years, the international community has invested significant effort and enormous financial resources to help rebuild Bosnia-Herzegovina and to help BiH become a functional and prosperous state, fully committed to its citizens and integrated into the Euro-Atlantic family. The vast majority of refugees and displaced persons were able to take possessions of their homes, and many returned thanks to the framework contained in Annex 7 of the Peace Agreement.
When I first arrived there, I quickly realized that there was something like a dependency syndrome very much visible and palpable in Bosnia, which basically means that Bosnians expected everything from the international community. So there was, in my opinion, a need for stakeholders, local stakeholders, to take up and actively approach changes, reforms that were necessary in the country.
My mandate as High Representative in Bosnia-Herzegovina has been marked by three crucial issues. First, the legal status of the Memorial Center of Potokari near Srebrenica has been determined. Second, after long negotiations, new laws and stipulations on value-added tax have been adopted at the state level of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Third, long negotiations had started on reaching Stabilization and Accession Agreement, SAA, between European Commission and Bosnia and Herzegovina, which was signed in 2008.
The function of High Representative is provided for in Annex 10 of the Peace Agreement, which states that the High Representative is the final authority in the interpretation of all civilian aspects of the agreement.
These bomb powers allowed us to take most important decisions at that time, for instance, the national flag, the national anthem, the single currency, the law on privatization, the law on citizenship, and so on and so forth. So these are the main achievements. And nowadays, 20 years after or 18 years after these decisions were taken, all the results of these decisions are still valid. They criticized them at the beginning, but nobody really has been able or has proposed to change this decision.
Many other steps were undertaken in the course of the implementation of the peace agreement that also improved citizens' lives. A single stable BiH currency was established. Common vehicle registration plates were created that facilitated freedom of movement and reintegration of people. Identity cards and modern passports were established to enable BiH citizens to travel to the EU without visas. And a modern VAT system was put into place, which has shown impressive results in the collection of public revenue. The establishment of the armed forces of Bosnia-Herzegovina, now marking their 10th anniversary, is a clear example of progress which was unimaginable in Dayton in 1995, but which became a reality when the country and the international community came together around a common vision. These past reforms and others point to what is possible when political leaders set their sights on an ambitious reform agenda that puts citizens' interests first.
Well, what's obvious, Dayton was adopted to stop the war, and that it has succeeded. But our primary concern today is how to make successful future for Bosnia and Herzegovina. And there are two camps: those who are saying in the name of a successful future, Dayton must not be changed, and those who are saying the opposite: in the name of successful future, Dayton must be changed. I'm not going to join either of the two camps. What I want to say is that we want a European future for Bosnia and Herzegovina. I do not see any credible perspective other than within the European Union and eventually NATO. For that, we need a functional society, functional constitution.
I believe in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and I believe in its people's ability to overcome the tragedy of war and to once again come together to build a better future for current and future generations. I also believe we have the constitutional and political machinery all ready to move beyond the present stalemate if there is political leadership and political will. Those leaders need to come forward now, turn decisively to the future, and urgently deliver what is necessary to open up the opportunities for a better life within the framework of the EU family that the ordinary people of this country so clearly deserve.
Odgovornost, samoodgovornost. You are responsible for your own country. We can help, we can assist you, but in the end, it's up to you to build your country.
This needs still a lot of time and hard work from Bosnia and Herzegovina politicians and the international community. Bosnia and Herzegovina must become the full member of European Union and NATO rather sooner than later.